Welcome to the Piece by Piece Autism Podcast with your hosts, Angie and Christy. They've worked 25 years to help Alec get the most out of life. Let them tell you how they're doing it.
Hey there, and welcome back to Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. We're excited you have joined us again today. We've got a little bit of a unique setup today as we are bringing on our very first guest and our longest running team member. And Christy is going to introduce the one and only Trout.
We love Trout. As rare as the California condor is a team member who stays on more than a year or two.
Yep.
Trout was on Alec's very first group home team and stayed the longest of any team member, about 4.5 years. He was one of two team members who made up our, quote, quarantine during the quarantine time. They were there with Alec for a couple of weeks. He and another guy by themselves. They had a blast. We'll hear about that later, hopefully. He attended undergrad in Provo and then went away to attend PA school. His adorable wife, Rochelle, has been a favorite of Alec's, and now he's added sweet little Arthur to the family. Trout has been a fan of our show, which we really appreciate, and we're pumped to have him join to discuss his experiences of working with Alec.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you very much.
We thought up some questions that we thought, wondering about what Trout thinks about stuff, about his experience with Alec, about how he came to join the team, etc. And he might even have a funny story or two to tell us about his.
I've got a couple.
Yeah, in 4.5 years, you'd think that he's seen a few things. He knows Alec just
He's
a little
seen
bit.
it all.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's start here. How did you find Alec's house, and what made you interested in working on the team? How did that all come to be?
Yeah, so I heard about it through a friend. Most of us who started working with Alec when he first moved to Utah are all from the same hometown. There was a girl who had a connection to Alec's family, and she was asked to find some people in the area that she thought would be a good fit. And she talked with a buddy of mine, and he talked with me, and that's kind of how I found out about it. Schedule worked out really well. Also, I was really excited to learn more about people with autism, first of all. And second of all, I felt like I would do a lot of good. I thought it would be helpful for me in my own personal development on top of making money and working with a cool guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. You were telling us something funny about that we didn't kind of recall because we're hearing it from your viewpoint for the first time. But tell us about like the very first interview process,
Oh, yeah.
et cetera, because we're very formulated on
Right.
that. We do have very strict procedure. Apparently, that was not our go-to whenever we first started the house.
That was not my experience at all. Yeah, when I listened to that podcast recently when you guys were talking about your hiring process, and you two will meet with the person and talk, and then there'll be like a meet and greet with Alec when they visit the house and you guys aren't there and all that stuff. And I was chuckling to myself because I didn't get any of that.
Sorry,
we're so
Trout,
sorry.
sorry.
We were learning.
Yeah,
You were
it
one of
wor-
our guinea pigs.
It worked out well. My interview was sometime in the evening on some day in April, I don't know. And I come to the house dressed all nice in a button-up shirt and pants, and I go to knock on the door and no one's home, and I wait a little bit, and I think it's Christy who shows up, and she's giving me a tour of Alec's house that is under renovations at the time. So like this is where his toys are gonna go, and it's just kind of a dusty room. And she's talking to me, Christy, you're talking to me like I have the job, like this is where you're going to work with Alec doing these things. This is where you're going to exercise with him. And we have a meeting next week. Be there. And I left feeling like it sounds like I have the job. I didn't say that. Like, it wasn't really an interview. It was like, this is what you're going to be doing. So either you trusted a lot your person in Utah who was finding people for you, or you're just really desperate. Either way, it worked out well, I think.
My goodness. No, we trusted her very well.
Yes. So
very much.
I didn't meet Alec that day. And then about a week or so later was this team meeting. And it was after Alec had already gone to bed. So I didn't meet Alec that day.
Oh, no.
That day was also my birthday. You were kind enough to get you actually got me 2 cakes.
You're coming to work on your birthday. We found out it was your birthday after the fact. We were like, oh my gosh, this guy's coming
Run
in
up
on
to
his
Baskin
birthday.
Robbins,
Yeah, it
grab
was
a
Let's go
couple
get
of ice
some
cream
ice
cakes.
cream.
We don't know what kind he likes. Just grab 2 of them.
And then I think the first time I actually met Alec was shortly after on a just on a shift working.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, it was a lot of us there at the same time. Angie, you were there, and there was another consultant who was there a lot of the time in the beginning, just helping train us up.
Yep.
Yeah, a little unique for how your hiring process goes now, but
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What did you think about Alec? What was your first impression?
he just seemed like a really happy guy who was excited about life. It was a big time of change for him, obviously, just moving to Utah, a bunch of new
Yes.
people. And I could tell that he was like kind of stressed, kind of nervous in
Yeah.
the beginning a lot. He was just like it was clear he was a naturally happy guy.
Yeah,
Which
I would
was,
say that's true.
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
Was it concerning for you at all to work with a guy who's nonverbal? What did you think about that?
I mean, it was comforting to know that you guys had been working with a guy who was nonverbal for 20 something years already. So obviously it could be done, and you guys were teaching me how to do it. And learning about the way he communicates was really exciting. Um, I think that was one of the things that impressed me the most in the beginning, um, was the way that he could communicate using the tap board. You guys have talked about that
Mm-hmm.
previously. Um, but yeah, I was kind of nervous, um, knowing that. Well, in the very beginning, like I said, we were all there together a lot, but soon it would just be me there. I quickly realized I was a lot more comfortable, like keeping him alive and making sure he was okay before I was comfortable, like teaching him and caring for him totally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's
Yeah.
got a lot of programs where he's learning how to do chores, and he's bettering his communication and all his gross motor skills and his community involvement. That stuff to me was more intimidating than the let's keep you alive and
Here's
okay.
here's something to eat.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's get some sunshine.
Right, right. That part felt easier. It was a long time before I felt super comfortable communicating with him.
I was going to bring that up. He was slower to really get up to par in communicating with you. And I
Yeah.
think that looking back in part was because your expectation and requirement for good communication from him was high. And
Which I love.
yeah, which is a great
I love
thing.
that.
Because I think
I love
people
the
can
high
kind of be
standard.
a little bit more willy-nilly, but
Right.
you were like, no, man, this is what we're doing. Here's my expectation. And he tried for a while to kind of perform under that. And
Oh, a good while. I felt like it was more than 6 months before we could really talk much at all.
yeah,
Um,
but you
I
got
had
there.
Yeah, we finally got there. Um, in a previous podcast, you guys talked about the matrix of what makes it easy to communicate with Alec, right? His
Hmm.
proximity to the keyboard, or if you're asking him, or if there's a cookie nearby, right, and he wants a cookie. Things that would make it harder is like he's sitting down and you're standing up,
Right.
or the keyboard's on the other side of the room. And when we were making that matrix on the board with one of the consultants, what was the hardest thing on the board was if it's Trout that he has to talk to. That was what was going to make it the hardest.
Yep.
Um,
Is that right?
yeah,
Well, we were talking
Oh
about
my
how
goodness.
how with different people, if it were me
Yeah.
at the time, I had the most experience having done the tapping with them since the beginning of the introduction of it
Yeah.
versus Trout, because he really just was so resistant for whatever reason. But
yeah. But it's been cool because I worked with him for such a long time. I got to see a lot of newer people than me join the team,
mhm.
and I became a part of some of the training process overlapping with newer employees, and it was really cool to see how quickly they were able to communicate with Alec.
Yeah.
Um, and I think part of that is to do with Alec's comfortability with a lot of people, moving
Yeah.
when he first moved to Utah. I
Yeah.
think that besides his group home time in Colorado for a little bit, It was the first time he had a huge new group of people at the same time, which I think could have been intimidating. But he's gotten a lot more used to that variability, and that's something you guys always talk about, that the importance of keeping him flexible. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
to me, it's clear that that's the case, and how well he can communicate with people he isn't used to communicating to.
We're thinking about like you had so many experiences with him over 4.5 years. Do you have any favorite experiences that kind of stand out as fun activities you did with him? Like I ran across a picture of you fishing with him. I think you're the only
Oh,
person that has ever fished with him,
yeah, that was a lot of
right? On the
fun.
team.
I'm not sure, maybe. Well, the other kid who was here with Alec and I during the first 2 weeks of COVID on the quarantine, his name is
Yeah.
Tyler. Um, we wanted to take him fishing, and we tried taking him fishing, and that's a story I'll tell in a little bit. Um,
Okay.
we have done a lot of fun things like go-karts and ropes courses.
Oh yeah, you're our ropes course guy.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah,
some cute pictures on Instagram of the two of you.
we did that a lot for a couple months. We had some interesting adventures on a mountain around here close to Alec's house.
Oh no.
Um,
Oh no.
I'll save that story for not on the air. Um,
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
but some of the most striking memories for me were during those 2 weeks that it was Alec and I and Tyler here. It was just the three of us for 2 weeks solid. One of the fun things we wanted to do during that time was go canoeing, because it was,
Why not?
yeah, it's like springish time. Utah's really pretty and there's a lot of water. And Tyler and I had recently gone with Rochelle, actually, my girlfriend at the time, canoeing on this pond, and it was a lot of fun, and we caught some fish. So we wanted to do that with Alec as well. So we rented a canoe, we took it up there. It was a really cold day. I think maybe it was like 45 degrees. It
Ooh.
was in the yeah, it was in the morning time. But we got there, we had our winter coats on and we were all bundled up. Alec was all set. He had his life jacket on. We got the boat in the water. Tyler and I aren't small guys. And Alec's not super small either. So we got these three full-sized men getting into this canoe to go onto this pond. And
I mean, what could happen? What could
well,
go wrong?
there's a lot of weight, so the water's riding a little high on the sides of the canoe, right? Take a we take a stroke of the paddle, we go out, go on the other side. Tyler's in the back, I'm in the front. I realized we were like paddling on the same side, so we tilted a little bit
Oh
one
no.
way. And Alex kind of top heavy, right? And he just sits tall on a bike or on anything. And
Yeah.
we start
Yeah.
leaning one way and we correct, and water gets in and we all fall into this pond.
Oh
Um,
gosh. And it's not cold at all. I mean, it's only March.
Right, only 45 degrees, and the water, I'm sure, was in the 30s. It was just the kind of water that just takes your breath away instantly, right? I couldn't say anything for a while because you can't breathe. And I wasn't wearing a life jacket, and Tyler wasn't wearing a life jacket, but we put one on Alec. It's really
Thank you
good
for that.
thinking on our part. Yeah, we were being responsible, at least for him, if not for ourselves. Alec's backpack with his snacks, his iPad just goes in the water, and we're not so far into the pond that it's really hard to get back, but it took us about 15 minutes to get out of the water.
Oh gosh.
Tyler was dragging Alec, and I was dragging the canoe, and there are people on the shore just watching us like hyperventilating in the water. And we finally get out, and I imagined in my head it'd be like really, oh, we're out, let's get in the car and warm up, but we're dripping wet. We
Yeah.
have a 70-pound canoe. We got to get on top of the car and strap down, take Alec into the bathroom to change his clothes. We're all just shivering, and I believe it was 45 minutes from the time we fell into the water till we were driving away.
Oh my gosh.
And Alec was a great sport. I mean, I've been with Alec during times where he's not happy, and he lets you know, right?
Oh
He's not
yes.
shy about letting you know he's not having what's
Oh
going on.
yes.
But I don't know if it was the cold water and he realized it was kind of a serious thing that we were going through or what, but he didn't scream at all. He was very calm. When he was taking off his wet clothes, he was really quick to get them off, and he was happy to put dry clothes on. He didn't put up a fuss at all. which was very, very helpful
That's
because
impressive.
we were all just suffering. We got some warm McDonald's hash browns on the way home because it was early morning.
Oh, that fixes everything.
Oh yeah. So that was that's one of the most striking memories with Alec.
I mean, I remember we were getting the call with the report of what had happened, and we're like,
Uh,
okay, but everyone's okay, all right, and now it's something we can laugh about, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Trout and Tyler taking Alec out in the canoe, like what were they thinking? But
Well, it's funny too because Tyler and I that morning had convinced Christy this will be such a great activity for Alec. We can take him out on the water all the time. We should buy a canoe. And so we
and did I
bought the
buy a
canoe.
canoe?
I was gonna say, I don't
Yes.
think Alec owns a canoe, does he?
Nope. Well, he owned a canoe for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
We promptly returned it.
Yes.
Oh,
Um,
how funny.
yeah. Oh man.
That's a good one.
But another one of the fun things we did during that 2 weeks of COVID is we built a Rube Goldberg machine with Alec
Oh yeah, this was epic.
that ran through his house.
Oh my goodness, I'll have to dig up that video and
Yeah.
post that on Instagram. That would
Yeah.
be so fun to see that again. But
Yeah.
that's cool.
That was cool.
That was a good one. One last thing with that story. We were listening to the song as we were going out on the water, Rocky Mountain High by John Denver. I
Oh,
had
I
one
love
of the
that one.
little AirPods in my ear, and Tyler had one in his ear, and we were listening to the song, and we knew Alex soon was going to put his iPad on and listen to his own music, right?
Yeah.
And it's such a peaceful song. And where we
Yeah.
were canoeing, there's like the huge mountains close by, and it was really peaceful for about 10 seconds. And then we fall in the water and we're just trying to catch our breath. And then all of a sudden, I just hear really calmly in the background, Rocky Mountain High. It was still in my ear playing as we're like almost drowning in the water.
With your
Oh
coats
my
on. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Every time I hear that song, I think about that time when we fell in the
It brings
pond.
it back.
Uh-huh.
What
Oh my
a
gosh.
memorable moment.
Do you remember when you took him to see the Up House?
Oh,
Remember when y'all did
yeah.
that?
Yeah, that was also around COVID-ish time.
Yeah.
Maybe 45 minutes from Alec's house. It's a house some guy is really into that movie, I guess, and made his house look exactly like it. And we went up there and took some pictures. That was a lot of fun. I had forgotten about that.
I'm gonna have to dig up those pictures. I haven't run across those.
Yeah.
I know I
That's
haven't.
fun. You guys did some traveling as well.
Oh, yeah.
You've been to quite a few states with Alec. Tell us a little bit about some of your travels and what would you say is your most memorable trip with him?
Sure. So I've traveled with Alec. Well, the first trip I did with him was there and back in the same day to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't so much about visiting Las Vegas as it was keeping up the habit of travel, like you guys have talked about on
Yeah.
a previous episode. Um, I went with him to LA with another team member, and we went to a Los Angeles Lakers basketball game. That one was a ton of fun. That was a weekend and a very unique trip. But I was kind of in the back of my mind thinking, man, I really hope Alec knows what's going on here and knows how cool of an experience this is. Like I know he understands it, but I wanted him to like take advantage of it, you know? Sometimes
Yeah.
you take him to events and he's often in his own world, which is totally fine. But I wanted him to enjoy what we were doing there.
Mm-hmm.
And he sat through and watched like the whole 2.5 hour game. He was into
Oh
it.
wow.
So that was a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun for me and also cool to see Alec get into it as well.
Yeah.
I've been with him to Wyoming. We went fishing and horseback riding. And well, I didn't go horseback riding, but he went with some other team members. They had a hot tub. We hung out on the ranch, rode around on I think it's called a razor. What are those called?
A razor or a ranger?
Yeah, there you go.
Ranger. Sorry.
Go and look around at their property. That trip was a lot of fun. The most recent trip I took with him, it was I think the year before I moved away. We went to Colorado. We went skiing for 2 or 3 days. Um, all of the trips have been a ton of fun.
Have you had any disasters with him when you've traveled? Like, have there been stressful moments? I
Yeah, there.
remember the one trip to Wyoming where he couldn't actually board the plane because he had an accident right outside of the gate.
Yeah, was that one
But I
with you
think he
though?
was with
Or was that
he was
Tyler?
with Tyler.
Yeah, he
Okay.
was
So then
he was
Tyler just had to jump in the car that I had parked at the airport somehow. We
Yeah.
Mhm,
crossed each other in the airport, and he got the keys to that, and he had to drive him because they
mhm.
missed the flight because of the cleanup.
Right.
And then he barely made it to the bathroom at their first stop. Is that where he met y'all?
I don't know if he met us at that stop, but or may I don't know if they stopped before they got to us or
No, it
when they
was
got to
when they
us.
got to you because he
Okay.
beelined it
Oh,
for the
that's
back of
right.
the store looking for the
That's
bathroom.
right. Yeah. So I met up with him at that point. I think he did well after that, after he cleared his system.
Oh
Um,
gosh, poor
Oh
guy.
my gosh.
it's hard to know if
Oh,
it was something he ate or if it's the stress of travel, right?
Yeah.
Um, which is
does get nervous.
why it's good to keep up the practice. I don't think anyone
Yeah,
loves flying on airplanes. It's a long day. You're
yeah.
crammed in with a bunch of other people. Um, so the fact that he flies as much as he does and as well as he does is awesome. Overall, our travel on the planes and in the airport was uneventful, which is exactly how you want it.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you want it. I love that. So you've had some really clever Halloween costumes. Alec
Oh,
has the
yes.
Halloween party every year. What was your favorite of all? I will tell you mine was the toilet paper roll. That was so funny walking up and seeing you as a toilet paper roll. And
That
I don't
Oh
know
must
what
gosh.
Rochelle was.
that
She was
must
also
have
a
been
toilet paper roll.
COVID
Oh,
times,
she was
right?
also a toilet paper.
I
When
think it was 2021 that we did that, I
okay.
think. Yeah, so COVID was still quite relevant. But
Yes.
we were we were kind of panicking, like what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do for a costume? And we were just looking online, like Halloween costumes in 5 minutes sort of things. And we came across it and it took us longer, excuse me, it took us a bit longer than 5 minutes, but yeah, we were both two giant toilet paper rolls.
That's so funny.
I cut a
Love
little
that one.
little part out in front of my face so I could eat and not have to take it off, and then just like taped a paper towel in front of it for afterwards.
Oh, how
Um,
funny.
so
Oh.
Alec's Halloween parties are the best. They're always fun games. There's a cool, I can't remember what you guys call it, but there's a game where we all, it's like a word association thing that Alec completes, and we all play
Oh yeah.
to see
Yeah.
if we can guess what Alec would complete the phrase as. That game is
Yes.
always a lot of fun. Um, my favorite Halloween
Yeah, I remember
costume
that.
probably was The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
I was Jack Skellington and my wife was Sally. Um, maybe that I say that was my favorite one because it has to be. It took us so long to make those costumes. Like if it wasn't our favorite, then it wouldn't have been worth it.
That wasn't
Um,
a 5 minute throw together.
no, it was probably like 30 hours of work.
Oh wow.
Um, but
It was a really good costume, but all of your costumes were good.
Gal's party brings everybody together. That's so
yeah,
fun.
that was another cool part. I had to these Halloween parties. I've invited friends who hadn't met Alec yet, and it was a good chance for him to meet him. You guys talk about how important the community is and
Hmm.
like the interactions he has outside of a strict learning setting. So he gets to make new friends. I had a couple friends who went to three of his Halloween parties with me, and so they'd always come back and were excited to see Alec, and Alec would remember him. Um, so the community, and then for me too, seeing old team members who maybe lived in a different part of the state or were not working with Alec anymore would still come back for these Halloween parties. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about what it was like to have Alec in your neck of the woods and introducing him to that part of your life?
Yeah, sure. So Alec had stayed in my hometown a couple times before he was with me in my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
So he spent time with some of the other team members' families and done some of the fun things in the area a little bit. The year that there was a summer where he was out in California for 1 or 2 weeks. My sister actually started working with Alec maybe a year or a little bit after I did. Um, so there were 2 or 3 days that she and I were with Alec, and he was with our family. And we were with him actually for the 4th of July, which was a lot of fun. We took him to the town parade. We did some little fireworks in our driveway that evening. But the big thing we did with Alec is we took him to San Francisco. It's about an hour and a half from our house. We took him to Pier 39, which is a classic shopping pier, lots of cool stores. There's a Lefty store. Um, I don't know if you guys have talked about that on the podcast. I don't remember. Alec is left-handed. Um,
We
and
have
so
not talked about that, but you are also left-handed, correct?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had been to this Lefty store growing up, and like most shops do for unique things, they charge you $30 for a pair of scissors and say they're left-handed scissors and stuff like that. But in reality, it does make a difference. But
Okay.
we they have left-handed scissors and pens and notebooks and mugs and things you didn't know needed to be left-handed. Um, but we got Alex some fun shirts and we got some pictures at the store, he and I, both being left-handed. Um, we took him to the Ripley's Believe It or Not museum they had there. Lots of funky exhibits that are interactive. And then at the end, they had a mirror maze where every every direction you look, it looks the same because there are all these clean mirrors and you have to find your way through. And we didn't like leave Alec on his own to do it, but we
Yeah.
let him lead us. He was so fast. I don't know how he figured it out, but he got through that maze. We passed like 3 groups of people
Oh, wow.
getting
That's
through that
impressive.
maze. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Oh,
Super cool.
his favorite thing, I think, at that museum, there's a part where it's like you're standing inside of a kaleidoscope, where you're on this tiny
Oh, wow.
bridge through a circular hallway, and there are these changing geometrical light patterns going with this
Oh my
music.
gosh, that's
Oh,
his dream.
And
yeah.
Alec just stayed in there vibing, rocking
Yeah.
back and forth
Just
for a
stemming,
while.
stemmany. Love it.
It was awesome.
That's cool.
That's so cool.
And that was pretty much our whole trip. We got some food on that pier, and you could see the water from there. But we didn't try to dragging it out. Sometimes when you take a trip at a bit of a distance like that, where it's a total of 3 hours driving, at least for me personally, I want to make sure that driving was worth it, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Where like
sure.
you stay there as long as possible, or you go to Disney, right? Like I got to be there the second they open to the second they close, get my money's worth. But I've learned with Alec, that's not the game.
Right.
You do not
That
get the
is
most
true.
out of the trip by spending the most time there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a mindset shift. You want to end on a good note. If you leave before things go bad, it means you left when you should have.
Yes.
When that's possible, right? Sometimes you got to stick things out, but
I think that is such a hard concept to be. I had a hard time getting used to that with him. It's like knowing when that cutoff point was
Mhm.
and saying, oh, we've got to leave before we get to that point. And then the day is so much better. And
totally.
you don't create this history of, pushing him to the very limits.
It
Right.
might make it harder
Oh.
to go on trips in the future if they go bad every time
Yeah.
because you're wanting to stretch them out.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Proactive measures. We're proactive measures,
That's right.
We just love them.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, would you say that your experience with Alec has helped you in any of your current professional settings?
Totally. Totally. So you guys mentioned in the beginning, I'm in PA school. And in a previous podcast, you guys mentioned this job can be attractive to some people who are going into health profession schools because it can
Mhm.
kind of be like clinical experience, right? You're taking care of someone in kind of a healthcare setting. where you help him get medication and check in with him psychologically. And there was a time where we were checking his blood pressure and things like that. Um,
Mhm.
so, number one, this experience was helpful in me getting into the program I'm in. And number two, since working with Alec, it has, well, I've been more interested and exploring different things in medicine, how it relates to autistic people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and people on the spectrum don't always get the same quality of care. It's easy for them to be kind of not taken seriously, right? If they're saying something's wrong, it's like, they have autism, they're just bothered by everything, right? Um, so that's something that's been on my mind a lot. And as I've gone through school, it's something I've paid attention to. Um, there are certain health conditions that are more common in those with autism, especially things like irritable bowel.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mhm. Yes.
Anxiety is common for autistic people to experience as well.
Epilepsy.
Epilepsy is a huge one, thank you. And so it's been cool to kind of think of some of these things I'm learning about through the scope of someone on the spectrum. And my experience with those on the spectrum primarily comes through Alec, who I recognize is more severely autistic than a lot of people. Um, my sister-in-law actually has mild form of autism, formerly called Asperger's syndrome.
Mm.
So I've gotten to see a little bit of both, but I find it to be helpful in just expanding cultural my cultural
Awareness.
competency or awareness. Yeah, you know, people from different cultures experience healthcare differently, right? They expect different things.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Um, those on the spectrum experience healthcare differently. Alec especially has a hard time communicating, both actually getting his thoughts across because he has to tap them out and he's not always in the mood to do that. And secondly, he has a hard time articulating his feelings sometimes.
Yeah.
I remember there was a time that he broke his foot and it took us a while to figure out he had a fracture in his foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just, I think, mostly has been helpful in me just being aware that you gotta you should take people seriously, no
Yeah.
matter their background. And sometimes in healthcare, as it seems to be money driven sometimes, or I don't got a lot of time, you're taking too long, sitting down, having a relationship with the person, your patient, getting to know them, getting to know their family, and taking them seriously. I think that I'm not yet working, I'm still in school, but I think that's going to be a really valuable thing I've learned from working with Alec.
That's
I
great.
think that's really important to say that. I really appreciate the doctors that will sit down and actually sit knee to knee with Alec and look him in the eye
Yeah.
and treat him like I am communicating with you. You are my patient. And then taking the time and being patient with tapping out every letter to spell whatever he's feeling. What we do try to do is we talk to him ahead of time when we have more time for him to relax and be in his own setting at home to say, okay, we're going to the gastro doctor today. What kind of things do you want this doctor to know about
Mm.
your issues? And then we can get those written down and take them into the doctor all prepared. And then sometimes he'll still pick up his board to want to make a comment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of like, get tense a little bit thinking, oh, I hope the doctor's patient with him.
Mm.
And so I really do appreciate it when people are aware that he has a voice and that he has thoughts and he is in touch with how his body's feeling. I mean, he does have some deficits there, but it is nice that I appreciate that you're being aware of that and bringing awareness to it. Is there anything about the background now that you have with ABA, applied behavior analysis, the
Mhm.
method that we've used for Alec, that has affected your how you live your life, how you're parenting, how your profession is playing out? I
Totally.
mean, has that had any kind of effect?
100%. Yeah. I learned about ABA in the context of working with those with autism. But as you guys have mentioned, ABA applies to a lot of different things, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the things that is most fresh on my mind that I've taken from working with Alec, it might not be so much ABA, is Alec has these presence activities that you guys and we have talked about, and Arthur loves these. My 18-month-old baby loves these little activities that you do to completion, right? And then you put them away. He loves those little kinds of activities. So that's one thing that has stuck with me. I also like the kind of, it's a mix that we do of errorless teaching and then letting him figure it out and fail, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're first
Yes.
learning how to do something, it's a good idea to let your kid just let's see what he does. Or other times you want to make sure this is exactly where you grab and you put your foot up here so you don't fall when you're on the playground. And then once you do the errorless teaching, then giving them a chance to do it with less and less and less support. So that's something that I use all the time. Another thing that I don't know if it's something that you guys have ever said or if it's something that I've just picked up, but it stuck with me a lot. And I think about it all of the time in a ton of different settings. Alec is severely autistic. Um, Occasionally, he has behavioral issues. Um, I've been, he's slapped me more times than I can count, and he's not like terribly aggressive, but he kind of throws little fits. Um,
Yeah.
and since the very first day working with Alec, it's been clear to me that that's not acceptable. And there are certain behaviors we don't put up with. And we reward him for good behavior. And we encourage good behavior, and certain things we don't put up with, no matter what.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people who have little kids or kids on the spectrum, and it's like, sorry, they're autistic, or sorry,
Yeah.
they're just not going to do anything about it, and that's appropriate occasionally, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to be super disciplinary all of the time, but it's very clear to me in the way that you guys structure Alec's life that while autism is an explanation for a lot of Alec's behaviors, it's not an excuse for his behaviors.
Oh,
Oh,
I like that.
I like that. We got to write that down, Angie.
Kind of just gave me chills because it's so true.
I know. I love that. Love that. Oh, those are some great examples. I love that. Thinking about errorless versus floundering is what we call it, like where you let your kid figure it out. And I love all that you just said. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Is there anything you miss about working with them?
totally. I have 3 sisters. I don't have any brothers. Um, and Alec has come to feel like a brother. So I miss just being with him. He's good company.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I miss him um, a lot. A lot of the time, I think about him, and I'm not a super communicative guy, and I've been super busy, and I've not reached out to him as much as I should have. Um, but I do miss him a lot. That's what I miss the most. I also miss the environment in which he lives. His home is really inviting, and it feels good to be in his house. I walked in the door with my wife and kid, and it felt good to come into the house, you know?
You're back.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
You always hire good people. It's always good company. And the two of you, it's always good to get together and to talk. There's a lot I miss about it.
When you said that about walking into the house, that is something that makes me so happy because the thing that I wanted, one of my very top priorities, is having the feel of the house be very welcoming to people coming in and to have Alec just feel super relaxed there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like, I don't know, sometimes I like nice furniture, or I like something where it's a rug that I've spent a little bit more money on, and I'll say, "Oh, I don't want any kids in there." I didn't want it to be that kind of place. I
Yeah.
wanted it to be, I want you to be able to sit anywhere. I want you to be able to put your feet up on whatever. I still don't love it when people sit on the handles of the chairs. That kind of gets me.
Well, that's
But I'm
just
trying to get over that.
yeah.
But I love it when people give me that feedback. So thank you for that,
Yeah.
because that's super important for me, that people feel comfortable there, and that Alec feels comfortable there. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
We love that you're a super fan. of our show.
Oh, yeah, I definitely am.
Do you have anything we should work on? You got any tweaks for us? Do you have any ideas for future shows you'd like to throw out there? We are welcome to feedback.
Well, I think it's been awesome. No, I love hearing all the stories of when Alec was young, because that's some of the things that are newer to me,
Yeah.
that I'm not as familiar with.
It's fun for us to reflect too, because you just forget
Well,
sometimes. We're
and
like,
Alec
oh,
he's had such an interesting life,
yeah,
you know, both in terms of he's lived in a bunch of different places around the world, number
yeah.
one. He worked with a bunch of different people, um, and just hearing the evolution of his education
Hmm.
and training is really, really cool.
We like words of encouragement. We love to be reinforced, you know.
We all do.
Trout, we're so glad that you were able to come and join us. It was a lot of fun catching up with you.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here with us today.
Well, thank you. It's been awesome. It's great to catch up with you guys and talk about Alec. He's one of my favorite
It's
people.
awesome. I'm sure he was pleasantly surprised to see you and Rochelle and little Arthur walk in today. So we hope this gave you a little bit of a glimpse into how a team member and all of our team members, current and past, can come into your child's life and make their mark and go on knowing more than when they started. I especially love that aspect of kind of the education side that we share with our team members and what they can take with them as they go on and start careers and families and really apply that piece of working with Alec to their day to day. Not to mention, of course, the relationship and the memories. That, of course, is the top tier. So, thanks again for joining us.
Of course, thank you very much.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Piece by Piece. Thanks for being a part of the conversation. If this episode made you think, laugh, or feel a little more seen, go ahead and follow the show. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. That's PIECE, Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. Until next time, take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.